Welcome to Angel's Workstation. Let's continue making something.
And welcome to part 2. Let's see how far I can take part 2 without getting too long. What I want to do next is I want to put some nice front and back paper on this. I should have probably done it when I was sewing these up, but that's alright. Take care of those in a sec. Got this at the thrift store. Different colors. Let's see. Let's make one of these. Oh, I don't know. What colors for my boys? We'll do one in black here. This way. Black sheet. Oh, brown. And there we go. Since the last time I recorded, I don't know, it's been a week or two, this arrived. Got this from AliExpress. $5 or something. I don't know. I think I still like my homemade one though. It's a little sharper. Plus I made it myself. Anyways. Gotta fold these in half, excuse me. The other thing I got is one of these bone folders. I noticed in the last video I was just using the handle from one of my paintbrushes. Well, you make do with what you got. You don't necessarily have to have all the tools and everything you see in videos. Okay, so fold this in half. I kept my template, scribbled notes on it when I was making the other video though, but it's alright. Oh, we need 2 of each color. 2 sticks. Okay, so I need another. Black. There's all kinds of videos that I've been watching about how to make books and stuff, and what I'm finding interesting is there's so many different methods, and you know, I think the whole point is just give it a try. That's all I'm doing. I was really surprised. I mean, it takes time, but I was surprised how easy it was to actually make a book. So this is actually my second and third only ever book. First one made for my wife. And, so you may have seen my grumpy hat in the introduction. There's actually a story behind that. I earned that hat back in 2003. My boys and family went down to Disneyland. Parade was coming. This guy wanted to see a parade. Everybody else wanted to go to Pirates of the Caribbean display. I got grumpy. I went and sat on a park bench. And the happy police even came up to me and asked me if it was okay. So when we went to the souvenir shop, I said, all right, I'm getting grumpy hat. Yeah, this is it. There you go. My boys might even remember that. Anyways, it's a little uninteresting story. Okay, read those later. Let's poke some holes. I'm just going to end up sewing and reattaching these to both sides of the book. Probably glue one of this sheet to the front sheet of the other one. Let's see. A lot of this is just flying by the seat of my pants. Unscripted. So if you're watching the channel, thank you for being here. And my intent is just to keep getting better at making these, because I don't know, if you start watching my videos from the beginning, you'll notice that I've been working through some mistakes here and there. Maybe not mistakes, but production difficulties, like the buzz on the recording input of one of my computers. I have since learned that you should use the ports on the back of your computer to prevent stray audio from coming in, like the hum. Apparently the front inputs are more noisy than the back inputs. I don't know, haven't tested that theory, but that's what I've done. Okay, so we are going to need to attach these. So 1, 2, I need 2 of those. These 4 in total. Fumble fingers here, come on. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bump you. What's that? Yeah, no, we're good. Thought I bumped the camera. Okay, so that's a string. Oh, another thing that I arrived is my little block of beeswax. If I went to the craft store, I'd have to spend 30 bucks on this great big brick. I went to AliExpress and bought this for a couple or $5, I think it was. You know, it takes 8 weeks or 6 weeks for things to get here, but it's always cheaper. I don't mind. So we string these on this. Add a bit of wax to the strings. Pull the strings through the wax like that. There we go. Okay, put these over here. This one. Yeah, I can still thread a needle. Okay. So what you do is you shove the needle into the middle of the thread. At least that's the way that the guy at for Four Keys Book Arts did. I kind of like that technique. Come on, get in there. There we go. Put through, and it's on. So what we'll do first, come in between these, the first two signatures, and behind here. Take the needle through. And just tie it on. There's no rules in this. It's just as long as the end product works. Okay, so now we need in the first one. Now, one thing I did notice, and this is if you're doing it, you probably do this better than I did here, but it's quite floppy. And you know, if you press this, it might get tighter. Do a better job making this snug here. But it really doesn't matter, because later on they're going to put glue on the spine and it'll hold it all together, so I'm not too worried. Well, what I'm doing here is time consuming and meticulous. So I think this is where I start turning on the time lapse. Okay, and I just ripped it. Okay, so I'm going to make a new one of these. Darn. Look at that. Anyways, on to the time lapse, and we'll see you in the next slow segment. Okay, so I want to trim the edges off here before I glue them together. Let's put them in my clamp. So what I want to do is set this up square. We're going to end up using the edge of the wood as our guide to cut. I don't want to cut a lot off. I do want to try to keep it square. So you just kind of eyeball it. Get enough so that you're going to end up nice and square on from the back across there. If you want, you can take something like a square like this, just to be sure. Yeah, see, that's close enough when you eyeball things. Okay. So, nice and snug. Just nice and firm. These 2x4s. Pieces of 2x4. Ooh, not quite tall enough. I hope my contraption holds there. Okay, I don't want this sideways. I actually want it this way. See in a moment. It's a little rickety, but I'll make it work. Okay. So now you take your blade and you start drawing it across, cutting a few at a time. Don't go fast. So you just hold the blade along there and just keep dragging it across. And you trim just a couple pages at a time. And eventually you'll get through. It'll all be the same. I'm going to switch to my actual blade. Let me switch to this instead. Better handle. I don't know, I couldn't find this before, so I kind of got used to using the blade. Yeah, don't cut yourself. Isn't the best setup in the world, but you make it work. Well, at least this is the way I did the last one. Okay, so I got to start over back here. Or maybe, this isn't working too good, but I'll figure it out. Tell you what, let's turn this around. Come at it from the other side. Oh, excuse me. Phone call. All right. Happens. Phone calls. Anyways, so I flip this around. Straight cut from this side. This will get better later because we'll be adjusting this edge, but so I get it roughly the same. You keep working it. Thing is, you can't cut them all at the same time, so you just keep dressing it. A little more, a little more, a little more. This gets a little messy. Use the edge of the blade to scrape if you want. I might be going a little too fast too because I'm trying to make the video. But you get the idea. You just keep drawing another couple of cuts. Draw it again. Draw it again. Draw it again. So anyways, I think I'm going to time lapse the rest of this. I'm gonna dress all three sides. So I don't have to dress that side yet. Okay, I'm gonna leave. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna dress these sides. And I'm gonna leave this for dressing after I glue it. So, anyways, onto the time lapse. I'm gonna trim this up. Actually, no, not yet. Let's give you a little more of this. Nice. Yeah. There, see? If you cut yourself, not my fault. All right, so that's going to be good enough. Just a nice rough, even it up. You know. Like I say, I'm not a pro at this. I'm making an attempt because I watched some other videos. Anyway. Good enough for now. I'm gonna redo some other, scraping and stuff later. Make it pretty. But there we go. That's that one side. Flip it over. Do the other. See you at the end of the time lapse. Alrighty then. Next step we have to do is we have to start gluing the spines together. So, kind of sort of do one, time lapse the other. Let's get to it. Like I say, these edges didn't turn out so good, but you use your blade and scrape them flat later after it's been glued together. Okay, so let's get this in my makeshift clamp. I find this a little tricky, so. Move just a little bit of space up. Nice and tight. Squeeze. And that's about as tight as I can make it. How did I do? Yeah, that's not too bad. Good enough. Okay, where's my blocks? Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay. Make some room. I'm gonna have to improve this system here. I don't know. It's just what I got, and it works for now. Okay. All right. So along this edge, we apply some glue. It's PVA glue. For the longest time, I didn't know what PVA stood for. And I read this label and it says polyvinyl acetate. PVA. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I guess in England they like to use this. And use this cheesecloth, got it at the dollar store. Just a natural cotton cheesecloth. And want to cut strips that go from about your tie here to your tie up here. And this is just going to reinforce the edge. So, that. Edge off. Going to want it. Doesn't have to be exact. To about there. Okay. Now, piece. Oh, about from there to there. I'll make both at the same time. I got to do this for 2 books. Like I said, these books will eventually go to my sons. See, I've got 2 sheets here. Yeah, that's 2 pieces. Okay, so I'll just use one for now. Trim that up later. Yeah, that'll fit just nice. Okay, set that down here. Now, get out of this. Get some glue ready. And my paintbrush. Okay. Nice, good, thick coating of glue all the way. Now, my books are not going to be nearly the quality as the ones that I saw on 4Keys Book Arts. I really like the guy's channel. He does a really good job of showing you what to do. Good enough that I learned. Now, this glue you want to go from end to end all the way. Good soaking. Come on, back in there. Extra. Starting to look better. Sorry, I don't have any interesting stories or anything to tell you, but you know, this, I don't know, I just feel like making videos. You can just sit back and watch me doing stuff. I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching similar videos, and I thought, why not? Shout out to my subscribers. Hey, yeah, I got a few. hope you find me interesting enough to subscribe to. Likes are fun to see too. Alright. One more. And a nice good thick coating of glue. Okay. Next, we take our little piece of cheesecloth and lay it end to end. So I guess what this does is it helps bind it, you know, together, you know, so that it doesn't separate. I might think of this like the rebar in concrete. Down, and we'll put another coating of glue on top just for good measure. So once I got this side done, I am going to do the other book. Might do it on time lapse, but it's going to take me a little while because I got to let this glue dry. I've only got the one clamp system. But this will work. It's looking quite nice. Nice thick coating of glue. Just like that. Maybe I should pull a little bit of Bob Ross. Put a little dab there, a little here, make a little bit there. Oh, wasn't Bob Ross an interesting fellow? Yeah. And like so. You know, I could probably take this another step further with the gluing. I think I am. Okay. The other thing we need to do is install some support cardboard. I got some scraps here. Okay, so how wide is that? That's a little bit too wide. Okay, that's good. Now you want a piece that goes in between from there to there. Uh-oh, too long. Another piece over here. So maybe that's a bit too wide. Let's see. Yeah. No, I think that'll do. Okay. And then on top of that, another piece. This should hold those signatures together quite nicely. Okay, so I'm going to put one more piece over top of the entire back now. How's this piece look? Oh, okay. Okay, these pieces aren't gonna be. I wanted it the whole length. See what else do I got here? Okay, a brand new piece. That'll do. Alright. And this one we want to go not quite to the knots. Over everything. Secure it all down. Close to the, you don't want it too close to the knots, because you'll be using a needle and thread through there later on. But I think that'll do. Just like that. And one last coating over top for good measure. And then we'll just let that kind of sit around and dry for a day. And I'll continue after this step with sewing the ends on. Yeah. Getting closer. And that should be just good enough. Alright. So, there we go. That's that step complete. And like I say, I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to do the same thing to the other book. And then I'll pick it up from there. See ya. Okay, well then, it looks like I've got the gluing done, And I think this is where I'll call the end of part 2. I'll take this apart. There we go. You'll notice what I did is I put in a little bit of red ribbon. I just glued it onto the end, used a bit more of the cheesecloth. We'll see how that goes. But there we go. Both books bound and ready for the next step, which will be sewing on. Actually, no. First, I'll be trimming the ends. I'll trim the edges of the book, and then we'll sew on those little, I don't know, bars and little sewing method, and work on some covers. Hopefully, I can cover all of that in part 3. So, until then, hope you find me interesting enough to subscribe to. Bye for now.